Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Horse Powertrain press conference. Please allow me to introduce you to our CEO, Mr. Mattias Giannini.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, valued customers, esteemed members of the press. We're honored to be here with you today, sharing the stage with some of the brightest minds and innovative leaders in our industry. For those that I haven't had the pleasure to meet before, my name is Mattias Giannini. I'm the CEO of Horse Powertrain. For too long, the auto industry has told itself a beautiful lie, that the road to net zero is one road, just one way to net zero, a single silver bullet, one perfect solution. But reality doesn't work quite that way. Imagine, for example, if we had to cross an entire continent using one kind of vehicle. We wouldn't make it. The terrain changes, the journey changes, and so must the machine. And that's exactly how the road to net zero looks like. It isn't a straight way. It's a shifting landscape of mountains, valleys, with detours, and success depends heavily on matching the right solution to the right conditions. But yet, for years now, governments, analysts, and even headlines in some of the world's leading newspapers have treated that transition as if it were one uniform journey. That oversimplification has slowed progress and, quite honestly, confused the public. So it's time to face the truth. Can hybrids take the lead in decarbonizing the global auto industry? Today, I'd like to offer you 4 proof points that strongly support this assumption. First, let's start with the market, and especially what the customers are telling us. For years, the industry has simplified decarbonization into a binary choice: combustion bad, electric good. But the real world had different plans. By 2040, less than half of the new vehicles produced will be fully electric. And that's assuming that everything goes well, according to all the OEM plans, battery manufacturing, launches, and so on. That means 6 out of 10 vehicles at that time frame will still be launched with some sort of combustion engine, which gives us as much as 1 billion vehicles in our car park equipped with some sort of an engine. So if we abandon that massive fleet to inefficient engines, we're not just not accelerating our transition towards net zero, we are actually delaying it. Ignore them, and we will fail. If we look at China, last year, hybrid sales exploded by nearly 100%, double of what it was the year before. Range extenders and plug-in hybrids grew at a faster pace than BEVs for the first time in the China transition to electrification. Brazil adopts, 83% of customers adopts ethanol, for example, as part of their flex fuel energy solution in that region. And in Europe, hybrid adoption continues to grow, growing steadily, even in the absence of subsidies here. Also, regulators are starting to adjust. You look at the UK extended hybrid sales until 2035. And California, of all places, now acknowledges hybrids as part of an essential role in the transition. So this is reality winning, ladies and gentlemen. It's pragmatism winning. And hybrids are at the core, at the heart of it. Limiting ourselves to one solution isn't ambitious, it's naive. Now let's talk a little bit about some facts, some technology and data. Focusing only on tailpipe emissions is like judging a movie for the first 5 minutes. You just miss the whole story. You're missing the big picture. When we measure cradle-to-grave life cycle emissions, the picture changes dramatically. For example, let's compare a 1.8 kilowatt per hour hybrid battery with one of a BEV, an 80 kilowatt hour BEV battery. The hybrid battery requires 20 times less material to produce. And I'm telling you, that's actually very conservative. The number is much higher than that. And this is only the start of the story. And then comes the one thing that nobody likes to talk about, the grid. According to data from Statista, the global energy grid pumps out nearly 15 gigatons of CO2 annually. The transportation, the global passenger transport, less than 4 gigatons. And today, fossil fuels are responsible for 60% of that global grid, with coal accounting for a third of it. What does it mean? It means that in certain regions, in those regions of high-intensity coal and fossil fuels power grids, charging a BEV can actually create more total emissions than running an efficient hybrid engine, for example, on biofuels. We can't just shift emissions from tailpipes to power plants. At least not as long as renewable energies are unlimited, which we all know it's not. It's just shifting the problem. And this is not anti-battery rhetoric. I am personally a big believer on the EV transition. It is one of the ways. We have to do it. And I'm a big supporter of OEMs continuing to accelerate their journey into EVs. But it's about the rest. It's about the other 50%. This is math. It's about using the right solution in the right region at the right time. And then comes cost. Cost matters. Here in Germany, for example, range extenders, EREVs, are already the lower cost of ownership solution compared to BEVs. Even with tariffs, they lead powertrains, which is proof that pragmatism and innovation can actually drive smart technologies and solutions for decarbonization. The third proof point I'd like to offer today, and perhaps my favorite, that's technology. The good news is that technology can help us solve this problem. In our laboratories right now, we are achieving thermal efficiencies above 50%. Very, very considered not so long ago impossible to achieve. Our current engines already today in production achieve 43.5% brake thermal efficiency, with the next generations approaching 45 and a clear path to get to that 50. What this means is it translates directly to efficiencies. Latest engines already reduce greenhouse gas emissions by as much as 10%, with a clear path to get to 20% or more as the technology continues to develop. We're also, as you will see around today, designing technologies and focusing on innovations that allows future vehicle designs to be done on a BEV-only architecture, where BEVs and hybrid powertrains can share identical platforms. And these are not just engineering milestones. They're proof that technology is no longer the bottleneck. The real bottleneck is cost and complexity. Now, I get often a question, Matthias, can the OEMs do themselves? Why can't they do themselves? Of course they can. They have the knowledge, they have the capability, as they, on their own, have developed these engines and transmissions for decades. That's not the point. The question is that the most efficient way to tackle our problem? They could double their platforms, double their supply chains, double their investments, but that is low, it's costly, and it's regionally inefficient, as different regions around the world need different types of solutions. Even when partnering with another OEM, which we have seen some of that happening recently, they will continue to have gaps. Gaps will continue to exist, whether it's in technology or it's in regional needs. And all of that, while individually their overall combustion volumes will continue to decline. I don't believe that's how we accelerate decarbonization. So this is exactly where Horse Powertrain comes in and why our company was created to begin with. To support the OEMs, to support our partners in closing the gaps that they have in the process. And with that, cutting as much as 30 to 50% of ICE-related investments. This is a reality already today. Removing months and maybe years from development cycles, and with that, freeing the OEMs to focus where they can create the most value, which is on design, on software, user experience, and most importantly, continue to accelerate their own transition to EV, battery electric vehicles. But proof isn't in the lab. It's in the products that we bring to the market. We're still a young company. We were created last year by our shareholders, Renault, Geely, and Aramco, joining forces, but we're not starting from zero. We ourselves come from a heritage of combined 125 years developing some of the most state-of-the-art powertrains in the industry. In just 1 year, Horse Powertrain has become a global force with our 19,000 employees all around the world, 5 state-of-the-art R&D centers, 17 manufacturing plants, already powering millions and millions of engines on the road. We have a global footprint. We have proven abilities, delivering products day after day. And we're innovating. While many have stopped innovating in the last years, we haven't. We continue to innovate and will continue to accelerate innovation going forward. We have a clear plan, our 2035 strategy. We'll continue to expand in key growth markets, such as the USA, to bring our global leadership experience, localize where the customers need it the most. We'll continue to drive operational efficiency, reducing costs, reducing time it takes to bring products to the market, and most importantly, bringing those innovations to the OEMs, creating a step change in the industry. Finally, the fourth proof point, the evidence that you can actually see and touch here today. Each one of those connects directly to these challenges that I've been talking about and how to help accelerate and solve the problems in our industry. First, our compact range extender. It basically extends BEV usefulness across regions and duty cycles. It's a practical way to accelerate decarbonization by bringing more people out of ICE vehicles and into BEVs when maybe they weren't quite ready to do that, solving range anxiety issues while the infrastructure in those regions catches up. The second one is our future hybrid concept. We unveiled this concept in Shanghai a few months ago, and today, if you go and see that behind me afterwards, you see that we don't even call it a concept anymore. We call it our future hybrid system because it's not in concept. We are already in full development mode. This is a unique, unprecedented hybrid system. No one is doing anything like this in the market. It was developed from the ground up based on a BEV platform. It is a hybrid system. It is a plug-in hybrid system, a range extender, and all of the above, but developed for a BEV vehicle so that OEMs in the future don't need to have separate development investments and architectures. This basically maximizes flexibility and eliminates the biggest problem OEMs have today, the uncertainty of volumes in BEVs, and with that, the risk of uncovered investments and recovering CAPEX. Finally, our E-Tech Gen 3. This is the continued evolution of our hybrid transmissions. 100% electric takeoff and up to 80% of emissions in city drive. 0 emissions on city drive, which basically delivers BEV-like experience through our efficiency breakthroughs. The most important thing is that these are not just concepts on a slide. These are real working systems that are ready now, that are scalable, and are designed to deliver some of the biggest measurable impacts in our transformation. Now, I talked about the challenges of the automotive OEMs, and every automotive CEO today basically faces the same reality, managing multiple transitions at once. I said earlier it's about cost and complexity, and this is where the complexity comes in. Dealing with the complexity, and above all, the challenges of how to be profitable along the way. The things that they're dealing with, BEV platforms that demand massive investments, and you can't slow down at this point. You have to keep accelerating. At the same time, I see updates that are still required in many markets that are not ready for full electric. New fuels, new supply chains, new regulations. The uncertainty around tariffs that makes demand planning so challenging these days. And that's, again, exactly where Horse Powertrain changes this equation. I mentioned before that with our platforms, OEMs can reduce their investments by as much as 30 to 50%, which basically frees hundreds and hundreds of millions of CapEx investments that they can put where they can create the biggest value. We build the powertrains. They build the cars that people love. We really believe in hybrids because every breakthrough that we can deliver creates momentum. Efficiency rises, emissions fall, and the costs drop. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to get back to where we started. I told you at the beginning that focusing only on EVs is putting our industry at a risk and not really helping the environment, by the way. And today, I've shown you a few facts. 6 out of 10 vehicles in 2040 will still run on combustion. Life cycle math proves that hybrids often deliver a bigger win. Our engineers are breaking through, making breakthroughs in efficiency that are taking down barriers once thought impossible. And the proof is here in products that you can see and touch today. The auto industry is not facing one transition. It's facing many. The companies that win will be the ones that embrace that complexity instead of running away from it, without waiting for perfect conditions. And that's exactly what we do at Horse Powertrain. We take the complexity out of the equation, and we give OEMs the freedom to focus on what makes their brands distinctive, while we deliver the powertrains that make decarbonization practical, scalable, and real. I invite you to visit our booth, to touch the systems, to talk to our engineers, to ask the hard questions. Because this isn't about believing in our words, it's about evidence. And the evidence is here today. We will also host a technical deep dive at 3 p.m. today, together with myself and our CTO, Ingo Scholten. Please come back, join us in that session. There, you will learn more about why perfect is the enemy of progress, and why hybrids are how progress takes the lead, delivering real decarbonization for the planet and for the industry right now. Thank you very much.